question and I say I'm not going to answer the question, I have a right to keep quiet, to remain silent. But if in the course of trial there is an overwhelming evidence against me that may lead me to conviction, I still have a right to remain silent.
But in this case, did we handle it properly? When I say we, the nation, the government, its arm, the police, the media. Did we handle this properly? Because we all remember the uproar that greeted that particular arrest and detention of these 4 journalists. A whole lot of people put the blame on the doorstep of the executive, while some would also blame the police. So was it properly handled?
For us to look at the handling of the case, you have brought out 3 parties, as a matter of fact. 1, the journalist. I did say before, and I want to repeat here, that the journalist has a duty to inform and educate the general public. That is a right that is guaranteed. In doing that, he also has a duty or an obligation. Where there is a right, there is an obligation to make sure that what he is using to educate the public is the truth and nothing but the truth. He can be excused. No human being is perfect if he makes unintentional mistake in the course of his duty. But if it is obvious to you as a journalist that what you want to dish out to the public is not the correct information, that information is false, then you must be circumspect in using that information. So that is as far as the journalist is concerned. He has to go the extra mile to be sure that what he is doing is right. As for the government, if the government says, look, this document you are holding or this document you have published is forged, the government can report to the police and say, look, I'm coming. Because we want to establish the duties and the responsibilities and the actions that should be taken by each party. The government can report to the police and say, look, we have suspicion that somebody has forged a document.
Okay, in this circumstance, let's take it from now, what you just said. Did the government report to the police?
If the government did not report to the police may not have taken any action.
May not have. But there are publications that the government spokespersons have come to say, well, that is not from the government.
Okay, apart from that, because I did say the police has a duty to investigate any crime.
Any crime?
Yeah.
Is this a crime?
No. When I say any crime, suspected crime.
But again, you know what I'm thinking? I'm looking at a little bit of logic here. When we talk about forgery, we're also insinuating there is an original somewhere.
Yes.
So perhaps
to some extent, there may not be an original document.
They may not.
I'm coming. If, for instance, you forge my signature, you are assuming that I have a signature, and you put it on a document. If I see my signature, I will know whether this is my signature or not. Now, if you write a statement and impute it to me that I made that statement or I wrote that statement, there is forgery. That statement may not exist anywhere. So there are 2 ways to look at it. You can have an original document existing somewhere and somebody forges something out of that document. Or you may not even have such a document existing anywhere and somebody comes up with a document that is purportedly originated from you.
So in this case, which do you think it is?
I am not going to do the work of the Nigerian police.
No.
It is the police to do their work and tell us.
This is not a question of doing the job of the Nigerian police.
I am an analyst.
Yeah, so...
And as an analyst, I am going to look at 2 sides of a coin. If the journalist says he has the original document, and the police says what you have is forged, then you must have an arbiter who says, look, prove your case, and I make a decision. I don't have the privilege of knowing what the police has done. And I'm not going to come here to say the police has done the right thing. As I said before, the police has a right. They have a duty to investigate alleged crime. And if they prove a prima facie case against the person or the journalist or any other person for that matter, then they take him to court.
I was going to ask you quickly, do you think that the courts can subpoena, through a subpoena, ask a journalist to disclose sources?
Of course. The court can subpoena.
Is a journalist bound to disclose that even through a subpoena?
He is.
In every circumstance.
When a court subpoenas you, you have a duty to obey the court.
Because the reason I ask this question is there have been security situations where anonymous calls are solicited so that cases can be solved, especially when it comes to security issues. Well, this is not in Nigeria, and they have been able to protect those anonymous because they want them to remain anonymous for a particular reason, so that people are encouraged to give information. Even sometimes people who are involved in the crime or who witnessed the crime, they are encouraged to come forward and give this information in return for a reward. Now we ask the question if through the course of investigation, they can be subpoenaed to disclose the source of the information. And they say that there is something protecting them from court subpoenas, so that even if there is a court subpoena, they're not under any obligation to disclose it.
Well, if the court subpoenas you and you think you have protection under the law,
yes,
then you bring that law before the court.
Are those things that we can explore? Because much as you might argue that, yes, what if the information is false? The question will be, what if it's true?
We're saying the same thing in different ways.
How do we weigh it? Which do you think should be the greater good? Is it when it's false or when it's good?
When it is good, it is for our own good.
Definitely. But how do we ensure that those times that it is good, we truly protect those people who give us good information?
Yeah. When it is good, we're supposed to protect the people who gave us information. When it is bad, I also said that before, the journalist still has a duty to protect the sources of his information.
Exactly.
But that protection also calls the journalist to a duty to make sure that what the person is giving you is also true. I cannot walk into this media organization and tell you, oh, I saw a policeman at that junction shooting passers-by. And because you think that I am reliable, because you think that I had given you information before, you quickly air it and said, our usual reliable sources disclosed that by 8 a.m. this morning, policemen were on rampage, killing passers-by at a particular junction. You wouldn't have discharged your duty as a prudent, careful, responsible, and investigative journalist. Because every information you get, my dear, you are supposed to subject it to some form of investigation before you release it to the public.
But these are all elementary things which they know, because their credibility will be at stake if they go ahead and publish all of those. So I imagine they don't take those things for granted. So perhaps that begs the question. But are you saying that it's in every circumstance that the court can ask the journalist to disclose sources?
No, I didn't say that. I said investigation will end at the door of the police. And if the police thinks they have a prima facie case against the journalist, they go to court. And in the course of trial, the court may decide, I am not going to hold brief for the court, neither am I going to hold brief for the police. The court may decide to subpoena you.
Okay, in this case, this one, since it hasn't gone to the court, in this case, as it is, what do you think was done right by the police? What do you think was done wrong by the police? What do you think was done right by the journalist and done wrong by the journalist? From what you've seen so far. Look at the two sides as an analyst.
You are asking me to be a judge.
I'm asking you to be an analyst.
No.
Look at the two sides in your words.
I would rather say that every party in this whole saga